Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance, everybody. I'm sorry I've been gone so long. I've been a very busy boy, okay? Please forgive me. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the military blended retirement system. We're going to talk about how you can maximize your retirement in the military. Are you ready? Let's go. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Now imagine this. The military took something that was simple and they made it extremely complex. Are you in shock? Well, that's exactly what happened with the new blended retirement system. So back in the day before this came into effect, military retirement was pretty simple. You do your 20 years minimum, you retire, and you get a pension for life. That was it. Not very complex. Now we have the blended retirement system, and there's a lot more interesting things that come along with this. So let's dive into it. Number one, you still get a defined benefit. If you do 20 years of service and you have to do at least 20 years of service, you're going to get a pension for the rest of your life. So this is almost exactly the same as the old military retirement. There is one difference, and that difference is the pension is less, and we'll talk about that later. But there's still a pension. You're not losing your pension if you do your 20 years in the military. There's a new part of the military retirement. There's also a defined contribution plan. Now, the military has always had the TSP, or they've had it for a while, but they never gave you a match when you contributed to your TSP. That went along with the old military retirement. With the new military retirement, you actually get a match to your TSP contributions up to a certain point. And we'll also talk about that later. On top of that, you're going to get a nice bonus, a mid-career bonus with the new blended retirement system. It may not be that big, and honestly, it's probably not going to be that big because the military is good at screwing people over, but you are going to get a bonus, and you'll have to owe some time if you take the bonus under the new retirement system. And finally, when you retire, you can actually take out a lump sum distribution against your future retirement benefits. So if you retire and you want a boatload of cash up front, you can take a lump sum distribution. The downside is if you take this lump sum distribution, you're going to have a reduced retirement benefit. And this is effective for anybody that's joined the military on January 1st, 2018, on or after. So some people have the option to opt into the system, but if you join the military after January 1st, 2018, except for maybe a few exceptions like cadets and stuff, you're going to be under this new plan. You're still going to get a pension with the new military blended retirement system. So if anybody says otherwise, they are wrong. They are 100% wrong. You are still going to get a pension as soon as you retire with the new blended retirement system. The only difference is that pension is going to be smaller. Now, back in the day, what they would do is they would take your number of years of service, they would multiply that by 2.5%, and they would multiply that by the average 36 months of pay, also known as your high three. With that formula, they would determine how much you got in retirement starting when you retired. So basically how it worked out is if you did 20 years in the military, you would get half of your base pay. And then every year on top of that you would get 2.5% more of your base pay. Now, instead of getting 2.5%, you get 2% of your pay for every year of service. So if you do 20 years of service, you're going to get 40% of your base pay, of that average of the last 36 months of your pay. So it's a slight reduction in how much you're getting, but you're still getting a pension, which is good because you're still getting paid, but it's also good for the military because they don't have to pay as much pension benefits. Now, just like the old system, with the new blended retirement system, once you start collecting your pension, you're getting that pension for life. So as soon as you retire, you're getting that delicious check every month for the rest of your life. The only caveat is just like the old system, with the new system, you have to do 20 years of service. So if you do 18 years of service, or you do 19 years of service, but you don't do 20, you're not getting a pension. You have to do 20 years minimum, or you get nothing. It's all or nothing. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. So you're planning on doing 18 years, you ain't getting crap. Now, for example, let's say under the new system, we have a lieutenant colonel who does 20 years and he has no prior enlisted service. What I did was I took the average of his last 36 months of pay. So I took every month of pay, added it all together, and then divided it by 36. I got 9,192.50 based on current rates. I multiplied that by 2%, that's the multiplier, and then I multiplied that by 20, which is his number of years. And based on that, this lieutenant colonel would get $3,677 a month. On top of that, every year, the government will probably give this lieutenant colonel cost of living or COLA adjustments. COLA adjustments increase your pension benefits because every year we have inflation. So if they didn't increase your pension benefits, the inflation would erode it away over time. So you get your pension and it adjusts for inflation. One final note with your pension is it's going to be fully taxable at the federal level. Now, some states give tax benefits for military pensions to encourage you to move there. But when it comes to your federal taxes, you're going to get that check and then you're going to have to pay taxes on it. So that $3,600 this lieutenant colonel is getting is probably going to be a little bit less. Now let's talk about the defined contribution portion of the new military retirement. With the old system, you didn't get any benefits with the TSP except for the privilege of being able to invest in the TSP. Excuse me. For the new system, you actually get a matching contribution to your thrift savings plan. Now the TSP, and I've talked about this in previous videos, is basically the military and federal government's 401k. And it's got certain tax benefits depending on whether you do the Roth and the traditional. If you want to know more, you can watch my video. But basically you can contribute up to $19,500 a year into the thrift savings plan, not including the match. So you can actually contribute $19,500 a year with the new system. And on top of that, you can actually put more in there with your matching contributions. So like I said, back in the day, the military did not give you any matching contributions. However, with the new system, they will match your contributions up to 5%. So if you put 5% of your base salary in the TSP, with the new system, the military will also match you 5%. Now I included this chart because it's not a one-for-one matching all the way to 5%. How it works is the military automatically gives you 1% for free. You get that automatically, no questions asked, after you do 60 days of service. When you contribute 1% yourself, you get a 1% match. And the same for 2% and the same for 3%. Now, if you put in 4% of your salary, you're going to get a 0.5% match, and the same with 5%. But basically, just to keep it simple, if you put in 5% of your pay, you're going to get 5% match by the federal government. So you're basically doubling your contributions for nothing. So if you're under the new plan, you want to be doing this. You want to put in at least 5%, but definitely more if you can. Now, if you just joined the military pretty recently, after January 1st, 2018, the military is automatically going to enroll you in the thrift savings plan, and they're going to automatically start you contributing 3% of your base pay into a age-appropriate life cycle fund, also known as an L fund. Now, I've also explained the L funds in another video, but basically they're mutual funds within the TSP that change your allocation from riskier investments to less risky investments as time goes on. So I think it's a great thing the military is doing this, because a lot of people back in the day, they would contribute to their TSP or they wouldn't at all. And if they did, they would put all their money in the G fund and they wouldn't make crap. So this is a good thing that's happening. And if the military does this for you, which they will, I suggest you put in 3% or more, at least 5 in my opinion. Now, the thing with the matching contributions is that you get the 1% automatic contribution after you do 60 days of service. So your first 30, 60 days of service, the military is not giving you that 1% automatic contribution. After the 60 days, you start getting that money deposited in your TSP. So even if you have 0% going in there, the military is giving you 1% of your base pay as free money. Now, the 4% match, the remaining match that they're going to give you, you're not going to be eligible for that until after your 25th month of service. So you have to wait to actually get that, you have to serve 2 years before you can start getting that matching contribution. Now, one final note that I did not mention on the previous slide is that with your matching contributions from the military, those don't vest until you've served for 2 years. So you have to do 2 years of service. And let's say you get out before that. If you get out before that, those automatic 1% contributions, the military is going to take those back and the growth that you got off those. So you want to do at least 2 years of service so you can actually vest or actually own the contributions that the military gave to you. Now moving on to continuation pay. So another benefit of the blended retirement system is that you're going to get a mid-career bonus, and they're going to pay that out to you between your 8th and 12th year of service. Under the old system, there were bonuses, but there was no specific bonus tied to your retirement. You could get a bonus for, staying in longer or, deploying or whatever. But with the old system, there was no bonus. You just got the pension and that was it. With this system, you're getting a bonus. Now, this bonus comes with a caveat. You're going to owe at least 3 years of service if you take this bonus. So if you're going to take this bonus between your 8th and 12th year, if you take it, you're probably going to do the full 20 years of service because it locks you in for at least 3 years. And then once you get over that 10, 12-year hump, you might as well just do your 20. Anyway, I got out before that. I got out of my 8-year mark and I didn't get any bonus, but that's my personal story. Anyway, so this bonus is going to be between 2.5 and 13 times your monthly pay at the time that you receive the bonus. So you could get up to a year's pay and more if you're in a high demand field. Now, it's going to be based on the military. They're going to determine how much they're going to pay you, and it's branch specific. So the Marines might decide, hey, we're only going to pay infantry officers 2.5% of their monthly pay. And we're going to pay signal officers 3 times their monthly pay. But whatever you're going to get for this bonus is going to be based on the needs of the military at the time. So what you can expect and what you should plan on is getting the minimum amount possible. So I would plan, if you're going to take this bonus, I would plan to get 2.5% of your monthly pay at the time you get the bonus, whatever that is at that time. That's for active duty. For the reserves, which I was in, you're going to get between half a month and 6 months of pay of an active duty soldier. So if you're a captain making 5 years, or sorry, if you're making and your base pay is $5,000 a month if you were on active duty, you could get up to $30,000 in the reserve as a bonus if you're in a high demand field. Probably not going to happen, but it's possible. This bonus is fully taxable. So if you take this bonus as a lump sum all at once, it's probably going to bump you into another tax bracket and you're going to pay significant taxes. So you have the option of taking this bonus all at once or of taking it over 4 years. So if you take it over 4 years, you actually spread it out and you'll probably have less tax liability depending on your tax bracket. So you have that choice. And like I said previously, you're probably going to get 2.5% if you're on active duty of your monthly pay, or half a month's pay if you're in the reserves. Don't plan on the military shoveling out tons of money to keep you in. Last but not least, we have the lump sum payment. Basically what you're doing with this is you're sacrificing your pension benefits or part of your pension benefits for a certain amount of years in exchange for an upfront lump sum payment right when you retire. So for example, you can sacrifice between 25% to 50% of your retirement payments between the day you're going to retire and age 67. And in exchange for that, you're going to get the present value, the discounted present value of those payments upfront in a lump sum. Basically what that means is you're going to get a smaller pension for a certain amount of years up to age 67, and in return for that, you're going to get a lump sum amount up front. Now, this is actually a good deal for the Department of Defense and the government, and it's a bad deal for you. And the reason is because the discount rate that they use to calculate the present value of your future retirement payments is much higher than inflation. In 2019, it was 6.81%. So basically, you're kind of getting screwed and you're sacrificing a lot of pension payments just so you can get a little bit of money up front. So in my opinion, it's not worth it. But if you decide to get this because you got to get your boat or your truck or whatever, and you want to take a reduced pension for, 20 or more years, you can take this out. It's going to be fully taxable, so either you pay all the taxes in the first year or you spread out the payments over 4 years. On top of that, you got to decide to do this 90 days or more out from retirement. So if you're about to retire, you can't suddenly change your mind and then choose to get this. You got to do it 90 days out or more. Now this discount rate, it's going to change every year. In 2019, it was 6.81%. I'm sure they're going to raise it higher, to try to save the military more money. And if you understand the concept of present value, you can see that you're actually getting screwed with this. But, if you really want a lump sum amount up front right after you retire, you can do that. And in exchange, you get a reduced pension between the day you retire and age 67. Once you get to age 67, the pension goes back up to where it should have been. So that summarizes the blended retirement system. Now here we're going to talk about my personal opinions of what you should do. And keep in mind, these are my personal opinions. I'm not in the military. I'm not a licensed blended retirement system briefer or whatever. So these are my own personal opinions. So this is something you should look at and consider, but ultimately you should talk to your military finance office or whoever deals with this before you actually make any decisions about your military retirement. Okay? Don't sue me. Anyway, if I were to be in the military at this time and I was getting this TSP match, I would go aggressive in my TSP. I would invest in the C fund, which tracks the S&P 500, the S fund, which tracks small cap stocks, and I would invest in the I fund, which is international stocks. These are the more aggressive indices that are in the TSP, and they allow you to get significant growth over time in exchange for more risk. So I recommend you invest in those funds. If you put your money in the G fund, it's going to be safe, but it's going to grow super slowly, and you're not going to have that much money in retirement. You want to use the power of that matching contribution to grow your money as much as possible before you start withdrawing from the TSP. Next point, you should get the match. If you put in 5% of your money, 5% of your base pay, the military is going to match you 5% after a certain amount of time, which is free freaking money. So if you're not putting at least 5% in there, then you're just an idiot, all right? I'm just going to say it up front. You want to put at least 5% in there. You can forego a couple pizzas a month or whatever crap you like to do in your free time in order to plan for your retirement and to be able to take care of your family. I know it's asking a lot, but you should definitely get that match. On top of that, when you deploy, it's an excellent opportunity to really fund your TSP. Number one, you're not getting taxed up to a certain amount of your base pay. You have to be like a major or above before anything gets taxed. But when you're deployed, you're getting tax-free money, and you can use that tax-free money to contribute to your Roth TSP. So you're putting tax-free money in your Roth TSP, it grows tax-free, and then you can withdraw it tax-free. So you never pay taxes. So you want to put as much as you possibly can into your TSP. Now there's a special rule where you can put up to $57,000 in your TSP while you're deployed. Not when you're back in the States, but when you're deployed, you can put up to $57,000 a year into your TSP, and you get all those excellent tax benefits. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that if you're deployed and you're contributing to your Roth TSP, you can put up to $19,500. You can also get the match, but after that, any contributions above that during the deployment are going to go into your traditional TSP. So just keep that in mind. You can't put $57,000 in your Roth TSP when you're deployed. Next point, you want to invest your mid-career bonus, all right? The reason they're giving you this bonus is because it helps you plan for your retirement. It helps you grow your retirement nest egg to actually be able to sustain you in retirement. So it may be tempting to spend that bonus on something like a truck or a boat or a vacation, and you can do that with a small part of your bonus. But you should definitely invest the majority of that bonus either in the Roth TSP or in a Roth IRA. And if those are fully maxed out, then you can invest in just a regular taxable brokerage account. But you want to invest that bonus because if you don't, you're missing out on significant and a significant opportunity to grow your money over time. So I recommend you invest it. The 2.5 times your monthly salary you're probably going to get. And finally, you want to skip that lump sum distribution at retirement. Now, the number may look huge. You're like, man, I can take half or 50% of my payments right up front. It could be $100,000 or more. But in the long run, you're getting screwed because the discount rate they use is way higher than inflation. So don't be fooled by that big number. The military is giving this to you for a reason. They're trying to save money by tempting you to take this lump sum cash out right before you retire. So don't do it, all right?
Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, ladies and gentlemen. If you liked it, please like the video, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll be posting another video shortly. You have a wonderful, delicious day.